that some folks who've come to our country and are trying to get status to stay, have applied to the Department of Health of DHS, and they've paid money, and DHS is doing nothing.
Oh, that's right. Yep, they're sitting on their applications, not processing them.
That's a pretty bold statement. How many people? I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know. How many people we're talking about?
About half of the immigrant flow right now.
So
90 countries are affected by the State Department ban.
How many people is that?
Well, it's at least 300,000 abroad, and probably twice that when you consider the people already in the U.S.
So you're saying that 300,000 folks have gone to DHS to seek some kind of permanent status or semi-permanent status to stay. At least 300,000, and they've paid money to DHS, and DHS has done nothing. Is that what
That's right. Yeah, they're sitting on their applications.
Well, who at DHS is
putting
doing
them in the trash?
Who at DHS is doing this?
Oh, it's Joseph Edlow. He's in charge of it. He came up with this policy to just.
Who is he?
He's the head of USCIS. Joseph Edlow is the head of USCIS. He came up with this policy
DHS?
where he is just.
Slow down a minute, man. You've had too much coffee.
What happens when a Senate hearing shifts from fraud in Minnesota to explosive claims about immigration policy? In this tense exchange, Senator John Kennedy presses witnesses on Medicaid fraud, prosecution standards, and whether ethnicity should ever factor into justice. But the conversation quickly pivots, and the questions get sharper. As allegations surface about DHS, USCIS, and hundreds of thousands of stalled immigration applications. This wasn't just a policy discussion. It was a moment about accountability in government spending, in law enforcement, and in federal immigration processing.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Schwartz, you're a professor at the University of Minnesota.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful state, by the way. Wonderful state.
It's a wonderful state.
Some people in your beautiful state went to your state Medicaid department and said, we want some taxpayer money, some being state taxpayer money, some being federal taxpayer money, to feed the poor. And these entities that did that got the money, and then they stole it. But to help cover their tracks, well, before I go there, do you think those people should be prosecuted?
I think if there is reason to pursue prosecution, of course they should be prosecuted.
Okay. Do you think their ethnicity should matter?
The ethnicity of these people should not matter.
Okay.
Not a bit.
Now, some of these thieves also went to some restaurants and said, I need a fictitious invoice that you fed 100 people. You're not going to feed 100 people. You're just going to help me steal the money, and I'll kick back some of the money to you. Do you think those restaurant thieves should be prosecuted?
I think if they have committed crimes, they should be prosecuted.
Regardless of their ethnicity?
Regardless of their ethnicity.
Okay. You had some other people in Minnesota who had a different scam. They went to the Medicaid department and said, I need state taxpayer money and federal taxpayer money to provide services to autistic children. And they got the money. And then to maximize the fruits of their theft, they went to well, first, do you think those people who...
Same answer to the question.
Okay. Now, in order to generate more money they could steal, they went to some families and said, do you have children? And some of the families said, yeah, we have kids. And they said, the thieves said, are your children autistic? And they said, well, no. And the thief said, well, would you agree to sign paperwork to say they're autistic if we kick back to you some of the money? Do you think those families should be prosecuted?
Same answer.
Okay. And you don't think their ethnicity should matter?
Not a bit.
Okay. All right, is it Hankerson? Hankinson, yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Hankinson. Did I understand you to say that you have studied immigrant communities throughout the United States in terms of fraud levels on social services?
Not specifically, no. I've done visa interviews in many countries, tens of thousands of them, and I've looked at reports about fraud levels.
I misunderstood you. I'm sorry about that. It's been a long day. Mr. Beyer, am I saying your name right?
It's Mr. Beer.
Mr. Beer. I like beer better.
Most people do.
Tell me that, I think I heard you say that some people, some folks who've come to our country and are trying to get status to stay, have applied to the Department of Health of DHS, and they've paid money, and DHS is doing nothing?
Oh, that's right. Yep, they're sitting on their applications, not processing them.
That's a pretty bold statement. How many people? I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know. How many people we're talking about?
About half of the immigrant flow right now.
So
90 countries are affected by the State Department ban.
How many people is that?
Well, it's at least 300,000 abroad and probably twice that when you consider the people already in the U.S.
So you're saying that 300,000 folks have gone to DHS to seek some kind of permanent status or semi-permanent status to stay. At least 300,000, and they paid money to DHS, and DHS has done nothing. Is that what?
That's right. Yeah, they're sitting on their applications.
Well, who
or they're
at
just
DHS is
putting
doing
them in the
this?
trash.
Who at DHS is doing this?
Oh, it's Joseph Edlow. He's
Who
in
is
charge of
Joseph
it.
Edlow?
He came up with this policy to just.
Who is he?
He's the head of USCIS. Joseph Edlow is the head of USCIS. He came up with this
He's
policy
the DHS?
where he is just.
Slow down a minute, man.
he's just-
You've had too much coffee. He's at DHS?
I'm just from New Jersey. So.
I understand. Great state, too. Who does he report to?
Secretary Noem, of course.
Okay. Does Secretary Noem know whether this?
I don't know what Secretary Noem knows, but she's aware of the general tenor of this administration.
What's his name?
Joseph Edlow.
Mr. Edlow. Who's his boss?
Secretary Noem.
Oh, okay. And you can document all this?
Oh, absolutely. They put out a memorandum saying we're not processing these people, and Secretary Rubio is involved as well when it comes to the State Department.
Would you send me that memo, please?
I will absolutely send that to you.
I went way over. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, John.
I appreciate that.
Senator Kennedy, I'm informed that USCIS is slowing adjudication because of the huge backlog and the lack of vetting of these migrants during the Biden administration is the reason that we've been given.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard Mr. Beer, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong. Those are pretty bold allegations that they're taking the money and they're not doing anything, and I just want to know if it's true or not.
Well, they're making sure that these people are vetted so we don't end up with people like the National Guards woman here in Washington, D.C. that was killed by an African.
I don't have a problem with vetting. I just want to know whether what the witness is saying is true.
Senator Kennedy methodically walked witnesses through a series of fraud scenarios in Minnesota: stolen Medicaid funds, fake invoices, fabricated autism diagnoses, repeatedly asking the same core question: should they be prosecuted? And just as consistently, the answer was clear: yes, regardless of ethnicity. The tone shifted when testimony alleged that roughly 300,000 immigration applications are sitting unprocessed within USCIS, despite fees being paid. Claims were made that internal memoranda support a slowdown policy, with leadership at DHS aware of the situation. Kennedy's response was cautious but direct. If the allegations are true, the public deserves answers. At its core, This hearing wasn't about party lines, it was about accountability. Whether in welfare fraud or federal immigration processing, the principle remains the same. Government must apply the law fairly and transparently, because in a system built on trust, oversight isn't optional, it's essential.